Okay, so we are going to cover two-dimensional printing, both in terms of creating a PDF file and in terms of creating an image file for printing the paper or building an image for your websites. Okay. First thing, our Wi-Fi is still down, which is kind of a bummer. Um, but we will hopefully, if it comes back up at the end by the end of this, I'll show you guys what software you need to get. Which the software that we recommend for creating PDFs, and this one is relevant. Your laptop should already have um, Microsoft's PDF writer, okay? And that will work, but it does not have very many default page setups for you, okay? And you need something with the architectural setups, all of that stuff. So what we recommend is Qt PDF, which is totally free. You do not need Acrobat Pro to do this as your PDF writer. In fact, Qt PDF I like a little bit better. The difficulty and why I wanted to be able to pull up the Qt PDF website is there's a lot of clickbait on the website for Qt PDF, an obnoxious amount, in fact, of clickbait. The complaints that I've had from students before is I installed this, but installed a virus on my computer, and it really doesn't do a virus, but it wants to install overlays onto your web browser and stuff like that if you click the wrong thing, because it is a nasty clickbait website. I don't know why it's set up that way. Well, yeah, I do. It's money. But Qt PDF really is one of the things that I really recommend. It's a great, great little piece of software. It just comes from an unfortunate site. So let's look at getting these files out of the computer and into two-dimensional printing. So this little file right here is Thorn Crown, 3D version of Thorn Crown that we built in BIM. So let's change this to a hidden line, and let's hide a few things. So the first thing that I'm doing is just coming in and setting up a few things that for a typical architectural presentation, I would not want to show up, right? Among them, for presentation drawings, things like these section marks. Okay, super important for your construction documentation. That is your next rep class, rep 3, professional documentation. For your drawings that you're displaying, this class is more about building the graphics, okay? You never want the default Revit section marks showing up on your drawings that you're pinning to the wall for a review. They're big, they're bulky, that's not what they're designed for. So I'm getting rid of a lot of the annotation things simply by going through, selecting, hiding in view, category, to get it down to the basic 3D model graphics, right? So I've got that stripped down, excuse me, just to the floor plan. Next, I want to make sure I am set to hidden line. Often you're going to be working in wireframes so that you can see sketches below, things like that, but we want to make sure that that's set to hidden line for a typical technical drawing, plans, sections, elevations. We can experiment with a few additional things as well to kind of make plan graphics in particular pop. And one of the things that I like to do, that I want you to do very carefully, okay, is turn shadows on. What shadows are going to do is give you just that little bit of depth in your plan view. And if you notice on screen, looks great. Looks really, really cool. Immediately gives you a pop of depth. In particular, what this helps for is your clients. Clients really have, non-architects, non-designers are really going to have difficulty reading your floor plan as something with depth. Right? We see it and we can see the spaces. A typical client does not. They don't see those two lines as walls. The shadow will really help. However, if I print it out as is, this drawing is going to look like crap. Okay? Things go darker when you hit print. Okay? A two-dimensional print, a piece of paper, has to reflect light. Okay? Your screen emits light. So it is always going to get darker. So much so that this shadow is absolutely 100% going to read more like solid hatch than it is a shadow. They become super, super aggressive. That floor plan will be not readable as a drawing. Okay, so if you're going to do shadows, which I do recommend, I do like them, but you have to come back in and go graphic display options. I'm always going to turn silhouettes to wide. It's not going to matter a lot on my floor plans. It's going to matter dramatically on elevation, so we'll cover that again. But a silhouette, again, is your edge. Setting it to wide is going to vary your line weights a little bit more aggressively than your default drawing, so it's going to look a lot nicer. Shadows. So I've got cast shadows already turned on. Sketchy lines. For this, I'm interested in a technical drawing, right? I don't want it to look hand-drawn, so sketchy lines is a lie. It's a really good lie. But it's going to take a standard line and make it look hand-drawn. Depth cueing does some things, but not particularly well, so I don't mess with it. Lighting. This is the thing, right? So right now, those shadows are 50% gray. That's what this means, which is way too much for a print. Looks okay on screen, terrible as a print. That needs to drop all the way down to 10. Which when I do that and hit apply, it's actually going to look like it's not enough on screen, but it's going to print great. You want those things to be super, super subtle. Okay? So we've got that set up now. Next, I need to create a page to print these from. So I know right now I'm working at a 1/8 inch scale, but I need context to build around this. Okay, I need something that is going to give me a one-to-one view of what that 1/8 inch drawing is going to look like. So to do that, I'm going to come down to Sheets. So I don't have any sheets added in yet. I'm simply going to right-click and go to New Sheet. So right now we are working with the laser. That is an 18 inch by 24 inch bed. So I'm going to load in the 18 by 24 inch sheet. Okay, so that is load. And you should be able to find this on our campus resources. Like if you go to DU classes, if our internet was working, you would go to DU classes and you would grab this 18 inch by 24 inch .rfa. So .rfa means Revit family as an extension. Okay, it's different than the standard Revit extension, which is RVT, I think. RFA is a Revit family. So I'm going to grab this, and what you need to do is just grab that 18 inch by 24 inch and copy it to your desktop or copy it someplace to your own laptop so you always have it, right? So that's just where I keep it on my desktop. And then we can modify that 18 inch by 24 inch into any size that we need to really, really easily. But I'm just going to go ahead for now and just load that in and say open and then OK. And that creates this blank sheet. From there, I'm going to go back to level 1. And as mentioned, as we were working with the laser cutter, with nothing selected so that I have the properties for the view, I need to scroll down and turn on my cropping regions. Because I really want Revit to only pay attention to the context immediately surrounding, in this case, my floor plan content, right? So I've got that set up. From here, I can navigate to my sheet, and I am going to left-click, drag, and drop that into my sheet. Okay? If I'm thinking, oh, that's way too small, I can always go back to level 1, change my scale to 1/4 inch. If I go back to my sheet, this is going to be twice the scale. Cool. And so at this point, I could come in, and if I wanted to, I could select that, rotate it around, make it fit on the sheet a little bit better. But I really don't recommend that. You start rotating things around, north arrows and our perception of them get all jacked up. Revit is set by default with north being up. But remember, that is you're starting your models. Keep it that way. It's going to make your life a whole lot easier, right? So I'm just going to say, yep, it's too big. 1/8 inch was right all along. And I have room for additional content. Let's change that back to 1/8 inch. So that's going to fit really nicely into my 18 by 24 inch page. I'm just going to drop it right into the middle of the page. Okay. To send this to a PDF print. So if we are going to do a print, large format, what we are looking for in our IO, the input-output room, is a PDF file. If you give Maddie a JPEG file, he's going to tell you no. He wants a PDF file because those process the fastest in our system. And ultimately it matters because when we've got 20 or 30 prints all in a row, if one of them takes 15 or 20 minutes to process, if it's an image file, and everybody else is taking 2 minutes to process because they're PDF files, we're talking about a day's worth of time when it's all said and done. Okay, so PDF files are the only things that we're going to send to our large format printing because they're just that much faster and that much more accurate. So we need to get this as a PDF file. So to do that, I'm going to go File, Print, and Print. If you notice, I already have Qt PDF loaded. So what I was talking about earlier is you can use Microsoft Print to PDF. That should be loaded up on your Windows 10 machines or Windows 11 machines if you are brave enough to have Windows 11, okay, which you shouldn't be. Windows 10, okay. But Print to PDF from Microsoft is not going to give you the page sizes, the page layouts that Qt PDF is going to have by default, right? So Qt PDF is just a lot easier to work with once you install it. And it's like a 2 megabyte file, I think, 3 megabytes, something like that. So it's an itty bitty program, which has lots of good content for you. And again, Adobe, I have an Acrobat Pro. Acrobat Pro is great, but really even that, just for sending things to the PDF format, Qt PDF really is one of the best ones we've found, and totally free. Free is good. So I'm going to select Qt PDF. We are printing the current window. So the current window is this sheet layout, this 18-inch by 24-inch sheet layout. I need to go Setup. And again, just like with the laser cutter, this is going to default fit to page, which is super stupid. Do not use fit to page. We're printing out at a scale. We need zoom 100%. This is going to try right now to print 100% at an 8.5 by 11. So that's what it's defaulted to, which is no good. For an 18 by 24, I need ArcC. Okay, this is the reason why I like Qt PDF. All of those things preloaded for you. ArcC is 18 by 24, D is 24 by 36, E is 36 by 48. I know all that stuff because I'm old. Okay, ArcC, I'm going to select that and say OK and preview. It's giving me this note. If I'm on my own computer, not the university's computer, I would totally check this so it doesn't show it anymore. But I leave this on for you guys so that we can talk about it each time. This is a note saying that this is a combination of vector and raster graphics, right? So the shade and shadow is going to be rasterized. So it's an image. The other line work is going to remain vector, which is the nice thing about PDF files as well, okay? So I'm not checking this, but you should totally check that box on your computer. You don't need to see that warning message each time. Close. So that is a complete WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get, okay? I had 18 by 24. That is showing up dead center. 18 by 24. So I'm now ready to go print. And OK. And I got that warning message again. And what Qt PDF is going to do is it's going to pop up this little interface. Be prepared for this. For bigger files, that might take 3 or 4 minutes to pop up while it's processing that information in the background. Okay? So in this case, Thorn Crown Final Plan. And then for me, I would typically put like the number 18. And what 18 means to me is 1/8 inch. Okay? 1/4 inch would be 14, etc. Right? Pretty simple. Really standard stuff that you'll see in an office. So Thorn Crown Chapel, Final Plan 18, save. And now, when I go to my desktop, I should have that as a PDF file that looks exactly like it did in Revit. Okay, so from here, I could take that PDF file, convert it to a JPEG, and upload that to my website. But Revit does give us an easier way to change something to a JPEG inside of the program. Same thing if I am doing a board layout. As you guys get into 3rd, 4th, and 5th year, a lot of times you're going to be pushing these graphics into Photoshop. Multiple plans, sections, elevations, perspectives, all of them going to Photoshop. Photoshop is happy to convert your PDF for you, but sometimes it's a little bit easier. Yeah, I know you can't. It's okay. Sometimes it's easier to just go ahead and build your image directly out of Revit. So that process is going File, Exports, and there's this little error right here. They did a really good job of hiding it. See this little guy? This lets you scroll down to the options. It's not the best. But if you scroll down, you're going to see images and animations. We want to export this as an image. So this is a really similar dialog box to what we just had. But there's a few things that I want to change. So right now, I need the first thing, always think top down on these menus. Okay? Do things in order. I don't want this to go to Scholarship Doc Immersion Thorncrown, right? That's where this file is located. I want to go ahead and save this to my desktop. So final plan, cap locks, plan 18. Save. So that is my location and my file name. Okay. Next, I'm printing current window. It is going to default to fit to, which again is kind of lousy programming in my opinion. We've got programmers not thinking like architects. We need the programmers to think like architects. Don't use fit to. Zoom to 100 because we need this to scale, right? Next, the default is going to be JPEG medium at 72 DPI. So DPI is how many dots per inch that we have. Okay. When you get into the profession, you might need to go higher than this, but in terms of academics, 72 DPI is way too low. You need to be at 300 DPI. You need to set your JPEGs to lossless and lossless. Okay? Really, really easy setup to use. When I say okay to this, it's going to take a minute and basically build that view. A lot less than a minute, actually. There's my JPEG file, also at 1/8 inch, 300 DPI. And as you start building more computer graphics, raster file, which this is, or an image file, at scale is a tricky thing to work with. But over the course of the semester, that will make more and more sense as you see it coming together. Cool? Questions?
How did you make that line fit where you cropped it? At the bottom? Like where it shows the scale?
This one right here?
Yeah, mine goes like...
Yeah, okay. So that's actually a really good question. So when you set up a page, the question is, how do I control this mess right here, okay? So that's the title. If I select and grab my drawing, it's going to move that title line with it. When that is selected, you're going to see a grip at the end of your line, right? So I need to have the entire drawing selected. And that's going to give me that grip, and I can change the size of that line. Typically, we like to keep that line relative to the size of the drawing, not all the way across the whole page. If I need to move the title, I need nothing selected, and I left-click and drag that title around. Like, so if I needed that to be a little bit closer, a little bit tighter, I might do this, and then select the entire drawing and pull that back in. And I know that when I go to print, it's not printing out that crop region line. That's going to disappear. Cool. So it's a totally secret handshake. So really good question. Still not working?
No. Wait, it's like... Oh, never mind. Got it.
Okay, good.
Beautiful.
Other questions? Cool. That was a great question to close that.